If you know me, you know I love me some Neon Abyss. Let's check it out, man. If you didn't get it, if you haven't played Neon Abyss 2 is out, and it's an incredible game. If it wasn't for Game Pass, I would have never found this game.
This is the future.
We got a lot to discuss. When it come to news, ain't no better than us. When it come to news, ain't no one you can trust. We got a lot to touch, so it's time to crush. We got a lot to discuss. When it come to news, ain't no better than us. When it come to news, ain't no one you can trust. We got a lot to touch, so it's time to crush. So it's time to crush.
Peace and blessings, and welcome back to Xbox Frontline News with your boy, the King. And on this powerful Thursday, where it's absolutely freezing in New York City, today has been probably one of the coldest days in New York's history. I'm not going to lie. It's absolutely freezing outside. Well, thank God for small gifts, because I'm going to tell you, thermals are dope as hell. If it's your first time finding the channel, well, you found your new best friend. If you love Xbox and you love positive Xbox news, well, you found me, the King. I drop videos 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I do it without delay. Now, today we're going to talk about a lot of things with the current state of Microsoft. We're going to talk about Microsoft, the head company that actually holds the Xbox brand. We're going to talk about what could possibly be one of the worst days that they had in the stock market. And that is based upon a lot of moves that they're making in the background. Shareholders are getting antsy, and individuals feel that they need to get their money back. Now, I know a lot of you guys really like to play numbers. I get it. When you don't have video games to play, you're going to play numbers. When you don't actually invest in the stock market, you're going to talk about the stock market. I know every time I say stock market, I really talk Boston, because that's where probably I learned the most of my tutelage was in Boston when it came to the stock market. So again, we're going to talk about a lot of shares. We're going to talk about stuff like that. We're going to talk about it being up. We're going to talk about it being down. We're going to talk about single-handedly how much money was lost in a single day. But what we're going to talk about is a ton of games. I bring you games, and tons of games has dropped. One of my favorite games, well, soon-to-be favorite game, has dropped today. And I can't wait for you guys to see exactly what that game is. If you're like me, then you're a fan of dynamic backgrounds. Microsoft has added 3 new dynamic backgrounds for the Xbox Series X and S to celebrate the Indie Select in 2026. Now, I know a lot of you guys don't know about the Indie Show, and if you do know about the Indie Show, I'm going to show a couple of those things a little bit later on. Neon Abyss 2 is probably one of my favorite games. To celebrate Xbox Indie Select program, they have shown you a couple of the titles that will be available later on, but they're giving you dynamic backgrounds to go with each and every last one of them. Now, you can get it like for the most simplistic, there's 3 backgrounds, while the other 2 are a bit more complex with more animation involved. They're stills right now, so you can see a lot of these backgrounds. These backgrounds are pretty dope. I actually love all the backgrounds, changing your backgrounds up every now and again for free isn't a hurt on the wallet, right? I Hate This Place is out, and it's based on a popular comic book. If you happen to like the comic book, you know that it's set in the 80s. It gives you that Stranger Things type of vibe. Uh, I ain't gonna lie, the cartoon animation of it is pretty cool. If you like a Wolf Among Us type style when it comes to your games, well, I Hate This Place is kind of like that, and you will enjoy the visual splendor. The game is pretty good, isometric at times, and what I like about it, it leans heavily into breaking the fourth wall when it comes to the comic book lineage. You have thought bubbles and speech bubbles, so it's pretty cool. You really need to check it out. It's on sale actually, and it launched today on your Xbox Series consoles. So check it out. You might really enjoy this. I happen to like it. It was on one of my indie games, so I'm going to think about picking this thing up probably next week. Because right now your boy is doing some NDA stuff, so you know what it is. Do you love Kingdom Come Deliverance? Are you a fan of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and how it brings you 4K 60? And you say, man, I wish the old game actually does that. Well, last gen's Kingdom Come Deliverance expected to get a free Xbox Series upgrade pretty soon. This thing is showing up hot on the heels of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, delivering a sprawling RPG greatness in 2025. The team at Warhorse Studios is seemingly planning a big upgrade for the Xbox One Kingdom Come Deliverance, with the last gen title expected to get a series patch very soon. As shared by their friends over at Push Square, the Sony store had brought down some details and where the PlayStation 5 upgrade is mentioned, including 4K visuals, improved frame rate, higher resolution textures, and more. And that will be heading over to the series consoles as well. So if you love Kingdom Come Deliverance, you're in for a treat. With Xbox CFO admits that the Xbox revenue was below expectations, and I can attribute that all the way to Call of Duty. To be honest with you, if you continue to act like Call of Duty is too big to fail, well, they will show you how they can absolutely fail. Microsoft specifically highlighted the release of showcasing cloud and AI as a strength, same as the company did in previous earnings, but Xbox content service revenue was shown to having a decline by 5% compared to the same period in 2024, while hardware revenue declined to 32%. Well, we know they're not in the business of selling hardware, so that is absolutely no big duh. Amy Hood admitted that Xbox content and services revenue was below expectations and was seemingly the result of a strong first-party performance in the prior year. Now, you had a better Call of Duty the year before, and this year you had a subpar Call of Duty. Right now, looking back into October, December 2024, there were definitely some notable first-party Xbox releases at the time: Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and it makes sense that they fare far better than Keeper, Ninja Gaiden 4, Outer Worlds 2, and Call of Duty Black Ops 7. If you look at the lineup from last year compared to the lineup of this year, well, of 2024 and the lineup of 2025, you can see that you had a superior lineup compared to the lineup that came out. Not too many people play Keeper. For some reason, Ninja Gaiden didn't resonate with people. I still haven't even downloaded and started to play Outer Worlds 2 and Call of Duty Black Ops for all intents and 7, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 for all intents and purposes. Kind of fell a little bit flat with the crew. In terms of hardware and performance, it was actually mentioned at the conference call, aside from the suggestion that it was again on the decline year over year, the company believes content revenue will have a small decline as well. Again, keeping up with this in mind, it's all based around the year-to-year results and not quarter-to-quarter. Of course, Xbox doesn't seem all that bothered about hardware performance anyway right now, at least not until the next Xbox console hit the market, which will be later on this year. While Amy Hood, CFO, is talking down on Xbox, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella Young Odin made a point of mentioning how successful the PC offering and the cloud offering in gaming is really good in the second quarter in 2026. And this is the quote he says: "In gaming, we are committed to delivering great games across Xbox, PC, cloud, and every other device. We saw a record PC players and paid streaming on Xbox." Again, a lot of you guys are talking into the wind tunnel, not understanding exactly what things are. The new Xbox Cloud interface is doing something really cool. So if you happen to see it, if you didn't get a chance to try it out, I suggest you do, because a lot of people are calling for that to be the new interface when it comes over to PC and gaming. Well, I can assure you that aspects of this is being streamlined to be unto the next consoles and also the PC. It plays just like a console. If you got a chance to see it, you will absolutely love it. I'm not going to lie, and it's an incredible thing to see, and you will enjoy it as well. Going along with the new interface, Xbox achievements have been visually redesigned, showing up in the new cloud gaming UI. Now, this UI is a very streamlined UI. Looks very good, looks very clean, very functional. And the Xbox achievements pop up completely different. Looks really cool. So if you're actually looking at the screen right now, you can see what the achievements look like. You can see the rare achievements with the diamond and the purple, and you can see the regular achievements with the trophy and the wreath. This is a pretty good thing, and I like when they try different things with the user interface. I honestly believe and know that this thing would be what's going to be into the next console coming up very soon. If you're like me, you've been wondering what the hell is going on with State of Decay 3. Now, apparently, State of Decay 3 is still in active development. The entry was first shown at 2020 Xbox Showcase. Since then, the studio has been quiet about the development of the title. A new trailer was also released over the last 2 years, and the franchise fans have been waiting for all the news on it. Well, Game Radar recently sat down with Craig Duncan, and Craig Duncan explained that it's still going strong and that the title is definitely coming out. So if anybody wanted to get a chance to see that, just buckle in. It's about to show up soon. A ton of people are upset with the Game Pass offerings, I guess, for January. And back in October, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate went up, their premier tier went up in price from $20 to $30 a month. At the time, many subscribers was upset, and the reception was only worsened by since then, since the subscription service has not improved in quality. So the Xbox and PC users are paying $120 a year for the same service. In fact, given how slow video game releases have been in the last few months, the offerings have actually been worse. In 2026, some have big games for the Xbox Game Pass subscribers have just dropped, including the long-awaited open world RPG, but they're still months out. In January, the games have been underwhelming so far, with, other than Death Stranding, to this end, 2 new titles was added to both Ultimate and Premium on both console and PC yesterday, Unknown and Drop Duchy. And the comment section of the posted highlight dropped, and many subscribers had popped the service criticizing its value. Do you expect us to pay $30 for this crap? I get you, bro. Damn, do you expect people to pay $30 for mobile games? The third comment was, Game Pass has no value anymore. Forza Horizon 6 is probably the last game I ever buy from the Xbox Studio. If you've been paying attention to Xbox Game Pass discourse in the last couple of months, this popular and growing sentiment. And it's not just exclusive to Xbox. You can find it on Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and it's about anywhere Xbox Game Pass is promoted where there's a mass social interaction. Unfortunately for these subscribers, Xbox Game Pass increased $10 in price not because Microsoft was planning on using the money to improve it, but to cover the cost of inflation, increasing game development prices, and predominantly to cover the subscription service that is not growing fast enough to be sustainable in the long term. I honestly can say I agree with this sentiment. We need to have every month at least one AAA title drop inside Game Pass per month. Oh man, so I want to thank each and every last one of you for sticking around. Now, like I told you before, we are going to talk about the single net drop in Microsoft shares. Yesterday, I think they were trading at 484, and they dropped down to 420 something. It was an incredible drop because shareholders got antsy at the second quarter of 2026 financials. Now, this is all due to the fact that they made bad bets. Well, they made good bets, but it takes a long time for AI to realize those bets. And people are getting antsy for years upon years. I honestly believe since actually 2020, Microsoft has been investing heavily into AI. While NVIDIA has been leading the charge in AI, Microsoft has had Azure Cloud Service across the world. Now, what they have implemented right now with the Maya 200 chip, they have implemented AI structure into the actual servers. With that, they have secured a pipeline for DRAM. Now, that information is actually going to come in another video because I am waiting for information and confirmation on the distribution of it and where they would be placing it. I did have a lot of questions when it came to the Maya chip, the 200 chip. Was that chip going to be implemented into the next OEM console? Were they selling that chip to their OEM partners? That's Asus, Lenovo, MSI, and I believe HP. Were they selling that chip to them? What is it going to be? That type of thing. So while I secure that information and secure the RAM information and understanding they're going to have it at a premium price so they can make sure that consoles are cheaper than what we are initially expecting. The downturn in revenue when it comes to Microsoft is mainly due to the fact that AI adoption when it comes to Microsoft is slow. Okay, now they do different things to mitigate that slow nature, but trying to fit the whole bill off on Microsoft on Xbox like Amy Hood tried to indicate was a false flag. A false flag when it comes to her interpretation or her depiction of where the actual loss is coming from. The actual loss is coming from AI and services. The cloud adoption is actually slow at best. Not many of you guys are actually purchasing Copilot. A ton of people actually remove Copilot off of their PCs, which hurts their growth in that section. And not everyone is using Bing as their search engine. So again, that is hurting Microsoft when it comes to that. Windows 360 is still at a moderate pace. It hasn't fluctuated too far below the margins. But again, they wanted to have an uptake in Copilot and they wanted to have an uptake in services. That is not the case. If Bing is not your main search engine and you're using Google, Foxfire, or whoever that you're using, well, then you understand how they can lose in revenue. This is why you see a lot of diversity when it goes into PC handhelds and trying to make sure that you have many PCs. This is the reason, one of the main reasons the next Xbox console is going to be a PC hybrid console with Xbox chips inside, along with a couple of other chips. I want to know if they're going to have a sister chip of the Maya 200 chip inside the next Xbox console, because I think that will help. That NPU or APU will definitely help with graphics, CPU, and all the other stuff that they want to implement. With the new user interface with the cloud streaming, what they want to do is make sure that cloud streaming is at the utmost, because a lot of their contracts is based upon that. Their television contracts, that's with TVs as far as TCL's, the owner of Sony brand televisions, and many other televisions when it goes to that LG, Samsung, and the list goes on. With their deal with Amazon, they're making sure that their streaming is up to par. And I'm not going to lie, I was just streaming Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, and it kind of played absolutely flawless with no problem. I was also playing Fortnite streaming, and that was playing flawless. And you know how intensive Fortnite needs to be with competitive nature when it comes to Fortnite. So again, me personally, I understand that they see an uptake in cloud streaming based upon the services that they do offer. This is the reason why that they are offering services, but I really feel that Game Pass Ultimate hasn't lived up to its name when it comes to Ultimate. The reason why I'm saying that is because I expect you to start off the year with a bang. Yeah, Death Stranding, that's pretty cool. But again, if they would have done whatever game that came out this month and did that launching inside Game Pass, a AAA title, that's pretty good. I think they need another AAA title next month to launch inside Game Pass. They need to make these secure these deals in order for that to happen. I use Game Pass. Like, what would have been cool if they would have released Final Fantasy inside Game Pass, but I understand why it's not released inside Game Pass. Maybe when Final Fantasy Rebirth is released, then the remake will make its way over to Game Pass. Game Pass for the price, for $30, needs to be absolutely exceptional. It needs to be flawless. And I understand why that is kind of a problem, but they need to secure those deals. That's not my problem. That's their problem. Now, looking at the weaker lineup in 2025 when it came to what these financials were actually looking at year on year, you can see that the offerings of Keeper, Ninja Gaiden, and what was that? Call of Duty 7 was weaker compared to Flight Simulator, Indiana Jones, and Call of Duty Black Ops 6, right? So, of the previous year, you can tell why their services was down 5%, especially when Call of Duty was the main culprit when looking at it. Now, I will have to put and solely put the blame on Amy Hood, Satya Nadella, and I forgot the other guy's name. It escapes me. This isn't a Phil, Sarah, and Matt Booty issue. This is an upper management issue. I think Black Ops 7 wasn't the way to go. And I honestly believe that that kind of hurt it. Also, I heard that the story isn't good. Haven't got a chance to play it. Really need to get into that. Oh, it was the Outer Worlds 2, which didn't sell as well. Those offerings weren't up to par. So we're not going to sugarcoat anything here. You need to have, at the end of the year, you need to have an incredible lineup to go along with Call of Duty. You can't just rely solely on Call of Duty to make an incredible lineup. Keeper, cool game, not a system seller. Well, not a subscription seller, right? Outer Worlds 2, cool game, not enough marketing, and not, again, like I said, not a service seller. You need to really focus on these things to make sure and ensure that the second half of the year, because you go 6 months is the first half, the other 6 months is the second half. The second half of the year needs to be as robust as the first half of the year so you can show end-on-end growth, year-on-year growth. Hopefully this year with Call of Duty, we have a better year than we had last year. What you don't want to happen is you end up like PlayStation selling off parts of yourself. Well, not PlayStation, Sony. All right, the parent company. Sony is the parent company of PlayStation. At the moment right now, the PlayStation itself is selling well, but they're not selling games at a clip that needs to be sold. It's a depression across all ecosystems. But what they do have is sales of consoles. What the whole of Sony isn't is this is the problem. Sony itself is a sick company. because they have to sell off parts of themselves to stay relevant. Digital stuff to Netflix. They gave Netflix the digital rights. And then when you look over at the televisions themselves have sold 51% of that and spun that off over to TCL, their main competitor. They only had 1% of the market share. So the overall health of Sony is bad. When you look at the PC and mobile, they're out of PC and mobile, where their stocks are trading at the low 20s. We see, and I'm talking about $20. I'm not talking about $200. Sony stocks are $20, $24, just, the low 20s. So again, for a price of a couple of Happy Meals, you can get a Sony stock. And with that mentality, it's really different when you look at Microsoft stock compared to Sony stock, but that's comparing apples to oranges. You're comparing something weak to something strong. And based upon they have no presence in AI, I kind of feel for the company because I don't know where the company will be later on. But I do know that Microsoft and Xbox are in good hands. With the new console coming this year, with them gearing up, you're seeing the new interface that they're actually testing in the wild. I like the program and what they're doing now. They're focusing on getting the product out. They're focusing on showing you that services and software will be the leading identity when it comes to Xbox. And then they will bring up the games. The games, they have so many different developers. The roadmap for Xbox this year looks incredible. In a year that is 25 years, you will see a ton of different games. But again, AI is dragging Microsoft down, and until AI starts to deliver, you're going to continue to see considerable drops when it comes to stock prices. But I believe that it will deliver in the second half of the year based upon the projections that I've seen. They were set back after COVID based upon a lot of stuff that was supposed to be implemented. Every keyboard was supposed to have an AI button that you were supposed to hit. That has not been implemented yet. And I've seen this tech with my own eyes. I've seen it at a lot of closed shows. I've seen it implemented with PCs, but that stuff has not been rolled out yet and has been on hold. And that has been 3 years. Okay, so this is Xbox Frontline News with your boy, The King. I know it was kind of heavy when it came to talking about stocks and where Microsoft is going, but Xbox is in a good place based upon all the titles that they do have coming. They just had a weaker selection of titles last year when it came to the second quarter. So now that you see that it didn't bear fruit as much as they thought, but it's not as bad as you think. You have to remember they removed TV and movie. So removing the revenue from TV and movie, remember, movies aren't doing that well in the theater. Based upon that, a lot of people wait for movies to show up so they can purchase their movies through their Xbox and watch them. Well, if you remove that function, then you remove those dollars. If you remove TV shows, you remove those dollars. So again, I had a lot of movies. I had a lot of TV shows purchased. I still got my content. But again, those stuff was available. Now they're no longer there. So you can look at a 2% loss there. Then you got to say that other 3% has had to come from Call of Duty. So this is Xbox Frontline News with your boy, The King. Let me tell you, man, I'm going to tell you, in a year where gaming looks like it's going to start climbing out of what I can say is like the doldrums. This generation has been the yin and yang of generations. It's kind of weird, man. It's good, it's bad, kind of indifferent with a lot of things. But I'm going to tell you, I want you to go where game is game and win is win. I try to do it every day. I want you to try to do it as well. And I want you to try to play the Game Pass.
Now let me alone and piss off!
Play it day one with Game Pass.